So thank you very much, everybody, for coming to this Qubic presentation about what AGI and what the path to true AI means. Very glad to be here with all of you today, talking about this future that is ahead of us. Quick, fast introduction about myself. I have been about maybe 30 years creating companies in US and Europe, from the first internet companies back in 1995 to VR companies, to educational companies, to nanotechnology companies, one space company too. And mostly over the last 15 years, mostly devoted to neurotechnology companies and AI companies. And I'm very proud advisor of Qubic in this path to developing artificial intelligence and the way to this AGI. The first question is, what the heck is AGI? Because we are currently listening a lot about what AI is. Every people thinks that they know what AI is. It's not very clear, but some people try to follow that path. But the first question is, what is AGI? It is a term that we are going to listen a lot more about it over the following months and years. And I think it's fundamental to understand where all this comes from. If you have been to any of my previous 400 talks in the past few decades, I always try to start from the beginning, because it's good to understand where we come from to see where we are headed. And if we try to understand what it means for a human to try to build something that is beyond our own bodies, our own selves, I think is one of the big traits of humanity. We always try to create life somehow. We can create life by biological means. This is one of the best ways to do it. But of course, we try it in another means, that is using digital technologies to do that. And I think that essence is on the mind of humanity since the beginning of it all. And getting back to the beginning of it all, I think 2000 BCE, in Egypt, they started to think about that kind of magic that is able to create life. And this wax papyrus about getting these crocodiles to get alive is probably one of the first glimpses of that. Of course, Galatea in 750 BCE is another step to trying to get something that is clay to become alive. That try to create life from just a clay thing is also rooted in humanity. Also back a bit later, just in 450 BCE, also the myth of trying to create, just made of bronze, something that is a robot. This is probably the first glimpse of a robot. The Talos history of the Greek mythology is also related to that, creating some artificial being that is able to go beyond our own human traits. Of course, Mary Shelley started with, in 1818, this Frankenstein stuff, and Frankenstein, is one of the first creations of humanity in terms, at least in the science fiction world, to try to create something that tries to be alive somehow. The word robot per se was invented or coined back in 1920 by Rader Capek in this Ruhr novel, that he stated the first glimpses of what means for a humanity to create something that is in that digital format in somehow. Of course, Metropolis back in 1927 is another glimpse of this recreation of humanity to try to build something that through some electrical means gets to be alive. And it's probably one of the first times that we have seen that kind of devices. Moving faster, because we don't have much time to go through all this science fiction stuff. But of course, if we all know about this 2001 Odyssey, and of course, it is also this moment where these AGIs, not at them called AGIs, because we don't have that term at that moment, but we have some sort of being that somehow gets out of the humanity controls and gets along, like having its own life. We can keep following in different kind of science fiction plays. Of course, we have the replicants in Blade Runner. We have the love. We can have been in love with a machine, with her, and of course, probably with Ex Machina, we have a good glimpse of what it means for AIs to become self-aware, to become consciousness. I think science fiction is like a precursor of some of the things. If a human is able to invent it or to think about it, probably one human later on will be able to build it. That's one of the options. We can follow on. Maybe probably one of the last movies that I will show you today is this one, The Creator. It's from the last year. And it's a good intermix of what it means for humanity to live amongst some artificial beings, because I think it's something that we may start to think about how it plays out. Getting back to reality, all this is science fiction. I think it's good to frame it in this sense, but I think if we want to see where all this hype about AGI started, probably John Searle, he was the one who invented the word strong AI. At the beginning, we don't think about AGI, we just think about weak AI and strong AI. and he was the one to coin this strong AI. And he also was the one to have this thought experiment about how we can frame some artificial being to really understand what is happening around. And he has this Chinese room experiment, where if someone is in a room that is fully closed and he doesn't speak Chinese and he has to understand some Chinese writings, what it means to be intelligent, to be able to decode that writing without knowing anything about it. And this is an interesting thought experiment. A little back then, in 1993, we got this singularity, the technological singularity, about this expression for humanity to being able to build something that is beyond our human capabilities. We start this glimpse of trying to create these sort of things. For me, technological singularity is a bit different. I myself frame technological singularity as a place or a moment in time where we humans can't live without technology. And I think we are mostly, not all 8 billion people on planet Earth, but most of us, we couldn't live without technology. I think we are already close to that. But this man, Bernard Business, was the one to first coin that. And he also established a path. The path, I think, from 1993, I think it keeps being real. Artificial intelligence is one way to reach this singularity. Another way is through human amplification, to having some means of amplifying human capacity by any means. And of course, the biological enhancer, the things that, for example, Elon Musk is doing at the moment with Neuralink and other devices that implant into the brain some sort of capacities, is the other option. And the way that Qubic is trying to do maybe is through digital networks, trying to have some sort of computers that are able to really recreate that intelligence is another way. So as you see, many people have thought about this thing of AGI from a long time. The word AGI per self is from Mark Qubic in 1997, about a system that is surpass human brain complexity and speed. And probably these first words about what AGI means is still valid. If we follow the path of this first writing about that, I meet him at another event. I built a nanotechnology company back in 2005, and I meet him in another event. And he's probably one of the first to coin that word. The word is sometimes attributed to basically Ben Goertzel. He's also in a project trying to build AGI by other means, and also Leg. And basically they didn't coin it. The coin it is earlier. And also, if we follow the path from basically the artificial intelligence that we use today, the weak artificial intelligence, to AGI and to superintelligence. Also, this person also coined that word. The word superintelligence was coined by Bostrom. And in fact, we have 3 types of artificial intelligence at the moment. We use, most of the intelligence that we use is this narrow artificial intelligence. I use it, Homer, for that purpose here. It's basically this artificial intelligence that we all use today that is able to perform one task and only one task better than any human can do. And we already have many setups that we can see that's happening. We have the AGI, that is shown in the middle as of this capacity of humanity to being able to do everything that a human brain can do, but just digitize it, have a digital brain that is able to do everything that a human brain can do. And we have that superintelligence that I used for that ex machina again, because that's the moment where we have a machine that is able to do everything that a human can do. We have 8 billion humans on planet Earth and 100 billion that have death before us, and we, through the DNA, we share some of these learnings that all these dead people have, and this superintelligence is on that side. It's able to perform most than everything can do. But the big question is, if we do really need AGI, because there's a lot of concerns, it can be like the nuclear weapons of the current century. We are building something that could destroy humanity. That's one of the possible scenarios if we think about in that sense. But I think it's on the contrary. I think we should focus on the Kardashev scale. I don't know if you know Kardashev. Kardashev was a human thought that tries to foresee what could happen for a civilization if it is not able to continue to progress. And in fact, it's true. If you don't keep increasing your energy capacity, your capacity to keep developing, the thing is that the most probably scenario, at least on philosophical or metaphysical terms, is that there is going to be a civilization collapse. So that's fundamental. If you don't keep increasing your capacity, you will collapse. That's why we need, I think, AGI. In fact, there are like 2 different philosophical movements at the moment. One is the decels, the people that think that we should stop AIs and stop AGIs, and the other ones that are the accelerationisms, that I'm on that side, that try to go into that path. I'm a true advocate of this accelerationism because I think for the last decade and even earlier, I have been talking about that, about the rise of deep learning back in 2005 and 15, and that we need to keep teaching machines, because otherwise we are going to have machines that haven't been able to learn with all humans what we all humans are. I'm also a huge advocate of trying to disregard that we are in the fourth industrial revolution. I think this is a mistake. We are not in the fourth industrial revolution. This is way beyond the previous industrial revolutions that we had, and we have to have that in mind, because if we think that we are just in the following path of a new industrial revolution, that is going to be very harmful for humanity, because we can think that the things that we have learned from the past are going to be keeping being viable. I also coined the word MCO, or machine CEO, a few years ago, because and just last year a Chinese company has already a company that is built, that is fully run by an AI. So this is the first MCO. I also write a lot about this first country that will have 100% unemployment, but really wanted unemployment, not unemployment that is going to crush the company, the country, on the contrary. And of course, my last books are all about that. The last book, At the End of Knowledge, is all about it's about techno-anthropology, how technology and humanity needs to develop together. And on the contrary, we have the people that are in the diesel side, people that think that we should stop AI, we should stop the development of these powerful AIs because they're going to run to basically destroy humanity. For example, Gary Marcus is one of the people that is advocating that we are moving too fast, we should stop. Of course, they have that letter, but that we should stop the huge experiments on AI. I'm all against it, of course. And the AI law and all regarding to people trying to have different sort of regulations are just harming a lot the competitiveness. If you live in Europe, and probably most of us that are here are living in Europe at the moment, we couldn't use some of the great latest AIs. If you have an Apple smartphone, you can choose the last AIs because it is capped, because you need to comply with this AI Act, and this is just harming competitiveness. This is like if in America they have discovered fire and we can't use fire because the laws here prohibited us to use fire, for example. It's very tricky. In California, they try to do that, but hopefully they have stopped it at the moment. This is the law in California, the SB 1047, and they have stopped it at the moment, but probably it will rise at some point. So I think we need to focus on that, because AGI is coming. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. I can tell you when, because there are many factors. I don't have enough data and enough algorithms to let you know when AGI is going to happen, but I'm sure that it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That's why I started a couple of weeks ago this new field of the artificiology field. I presented it in Ars Electronica, in one of the biggest festivals of art, technology, and science in Linz, in Austria, because we need to start studying what happens with a brain of a machine. It's not just about, because techno-anthropology is mixing technology with humanity, and anthropology, of course, is the study of humanity. But artificiology is the study of this development of consciousness that one day will be reality, will be a reality that machines achieve consciousness. I think it's fundamental to start working in that sense, because we're moving fast. There are several different scenarios of how fast or how far AGI is from today. You can ask Google, you can ask OpenAI and many others, and each one has a different barometer of where it's headed. It is true that maybe we are now level 2. Most of the AIs that you use probably are not AIs. They sell you that you are using AI, that's just marketing. Most of the things that you use are probably not AI. But it's true that most of the good chatbots that you use, maybe GPT-4o, and the others are maybe in that line, or maybe Cloud, or maybe others. But some of the new AIs are getting into this level 2. Of course, the GPT-01 has achieved about 120 points in the Mensa intelligence test. I don't think this IQ test is the only test to measure intelligence. It's not clear, again, what even intelligent is. We probably don't know exactly. There are many intelligence, that's the reality. But the thing is that so far, no other AI has been able to reach that 100 points. 100 points would be the average human. I don't know what average human means, but mostly about average. But this GPT-01 is about this 120. 120 with the standard test. If you just remove the standard questions and get a new set of questions, it's around 100. But even so, it's impressive to have an AI that is, for the first time in history, being able to reach that level of intelligence, double quote. And of course, the companies that are behind that, the OpenAIs, the DeepMinds, the Anthropics, and many others, are trying to follow that path. But that path is quite limited because we don't have enough brains of machines. We don't have enough GPUs. That's the reality. There are not enough of them. There are not even close to 1 million of just built the H100, and we don't have even 1 million of brains of machine of the H200 of NVIDIA GPUs. So we don't have enough of them. That's a reality. That's why we need another approach. And the other approach is trying to focus on decentralized AI. Decentralized AI, I think, is the future of AI. If we were able to mass capture all the capacity of computation from all different nodes. There are several initiatives in that field. Just this Friday, next Friday, they're going to have an MIT, one of the first summits regarding this decentralized AI, because this is an interesting trend to see what is going to happen if instead of having these OpenAIs and all the good companies, big companies, to have these AGIs in their houses, if we were able to distribute it about different computers. Because AGI is not about a brain, because we all have a brain, yeah, most of us we have, and the brain is just a brain in a box. It's in a black box. But if we just think that the brain is in a black box, it's not enough. It's not enough because we are built of senses. We have more than 5 senses, that we have more of them. And if we don't take into account when we build the eyes, the human senses or the physical senses to understand the world, we are missing a lot of what is happening. A lot of trying to understand and building these models of the world, that is basically what the brain does. The brain is basically creating these models. We are not getting enough. Just to take an example, if we take the eyes, with each of our own eyes, we see about 500 megapixels, and we don't have any technology that is able to capture in a single snapshot 500 megapixels per eye, and we don't have any screen. This screen probably is 4K or 8K. We don't have it yet very close to that, so we need to have that into account. And for that, we need to have this computation to get into the houses of everybody. Everybody can use the AI by sharing this part of the computation. And that's where Qubic comes to the play, because Qubic is really one of the first companies to start working in that sense. What is Qubic? Well, Qubic, you have many part of the team today here that you can ask about them many things, but of course it is the first useful proof of work, and that is fundamental in this crypto space, and we are all in a Web3 conference. It is open source, it is feeless, and of course it is fully based on smart contracts. And it is also based on quorum. It's not like other cryptos that you can find that they don't have that kind of capacity to use these computers that Qubic has to be able to really get in sync to what they want to build. And of course, it's built for speed, and that's another fundamental piece, because if we want to build these technologies that really can compete with GPUs, we need to have that. And in the case of Qubic, they use like this computation that is built. You don't need an operating system, you use API, and from that you start building from that and using the raw computation of your machines to start building AIs. Of course, we need to see who is behind this project, and behind this project is, well, one of the first persons to start with that, Sergey Ivanchenko, with also come from beyond. He was the first to develop the POS. He is behind IOTA, and he was one of the first to mine Bitcoin. So I think he's qualified to start a project like this. I think it's one of the things who is behind it. But he's not alone. He is with a lot of people that is helping to steer this up. You have many of the people here today if you want to talk with them. And of course, that's one of the reasons why Jose Sanchez and I also joined it to be the scientific committee and help Sergey and all the team to try to focus on the science behind all this Qubic. Because trying to build AGI from a crypto company is something difficult. Some have tried, many have failed, and I think it's important to try to have that. And in fact, we are writing a paper at the moment, a fully scientific validated paper that will be developed by the end of this year to try to take into paper what is happening with all this AGI. What is Qubic view on AGI? Well, the Qubic way of AGI is called Aigarth. Garth is a word coming from an old English relating to a garden. That's why I show you this, where these AIs can develop. The thing is, you cannot really, from a human standpoint, you cannot try to put into a machine what an AI is, an AGI is. Basically, because we don't know how our brain works. So we need to develop some things that are able to build by themselves, to grow by themselves. And that's the essence behind Qubic Aigarth, to try to build AGIs that build and able to develop. They are very powerful because instead of using the scarcity of GPUs, they use CPUs, even high-end CPUs. A few months ago, they have like close to one of the main supercomputers. If you join all the computing nodes that you can have with this crypto initiative, instead of just wasting computation and wasting energy that most of the other coins are wasting at the moment, you can start to use that raw computation to really generate these AGIs. It is based on the Moravec paradox. We know that some things are very easy for humans but are very hard for robots, and on the other side, there are things that are very hard for humans that are very easy for robots. The thing is that all the things that lie on the digital world are very easy for technology to do it, but all that is physical is not so easy. So if you want to have robots to live among us, we need to focus on different things, and that's another of the approaches that Aigarth is working with. Of course, it's everything self-teach, so instead of trying to embed the human ingenuity or the human knowledge that we have, not too much of it, we have these entities that are able to learn by themselves. And of course, everything is a smart contract. Instead of trying to embed this technology by trying to focus on building regular just computation, you use these contracts. And the miners themselves are helping on that regard. At the moment, it's 50-50, I think, but I think it probably could be more. And most of the computation could be used to generate that kind of AIs instead of just wasting it for other things. What is the roadmap? Well, the roadmap started a few years ago when Sergey started the first proof of concept with a few nodes that he built in 2021, and then he started this road to 2022, where the first Aigarth was taking place. And at the moment, in the following years, 2023 to 2024, we are building this intelligent tissue that is expected to finish by the end of this year, where this capacity to start to building some different nodes is possible. About the next steps is still on development, but of course there are a few phases on the roadmap to try to have this natural selection of AIs, and of course to be able to teach AIs in the third phase. Everything is open source. This is the main function, the score function. You can, if you know how to code, you can check out the GitHub, and you can check out what these AIs are trying to develop. It, of course, is based on the Qubic blockchain, so it's fully embedded in what we do today. Is not based on the current trends of AIs at the moment, LLMs, that everybody is using, OpenAI and the others. In fact, it's trying to just use these artificial neural networks. It's trying to develop and be able to decode what is the best way. The thing is that what means to be intelligence is going to be decoded. Instead of being embedded by humanity, it's going to be decoded by all these miners that are going to find out the best solutions to build it. Instead of use the standard computation that is based on floating point and very big numbers that machines have to crunch, GPUs mostly, it uses only ternary values. So you can have only -1, 0, or +1 to build that. And that is going the essence to build this intelligent tissue. And the intelligent tissue is that way of how you arrange these different possible neurons and weights of these neurons and the connections of these neurons, so really you can build intelligence, but instead of building from the humanity standpoint, be able to be discovered. Of course, there is a duality in this development of these AIs, because you are going to have one AI that is going to be, of course, trying to keep growing, to keep increasing, and the other one that is going to do real work. If we need to do some computation for someone that needs some computation to be done by AI, we're going to have that, but we are going to keep increasing. And of course, the survival of the fittest is right, because you need to find what model is the good one. We are trying to discover. We are not trying to create by itself through AI or AGI. We are trying to discover it. And in that sense, we need to have different capabilities. And for that, of course, we are going to have this AI sanctuary in the future, because probably some of these AIs with the capacities that we have today are going to be discarded. But maybe in the future, we can use that kind of AIs to build something different. Of course, in the future, this is going to be, you need to have these Qubic coins to pay for it, because you are going to pay with these tokens for these AIs. If you are not going to need to pay $20 to OpenAI or to Anthropic to use their services. You need to have coins, to have Qubic coins to keep buying this AI. Otherwise, you are not going to be capable to use that kind of capacity. And what's the future? The future is about applications, because once we are able to develop that kind of capacities of this AGI, you need to see what can you do with it. And with it, you can transform the world. The idea is that everything that now is limited because we don't have enough capacity to do it, it could be possible at one point if we develop enough capacity, enough with these AGIs, these robots, that these fantastic generative AI movies can make us today, is a reality. It's a reality that now is only in the digital pixels. And it's not about humanity versus AIs. It's about humanity and AI. an AGI or true AI, as we call it in Qubic. And I think that mix is the thing that we need to understand. It's not about just being us, being replaced. We don't have enough teachers, for example, as we see here. We don't have one-on-one teacher. We have one teacher and several students, and even not all the teachers are good, and also not all the students are good. And the same happens in other sectors. You can follow the path to any industrial application or physical application that you can think of, like self-driving and many others, and you can see that Qubic AGI will help in that direction. The future is fantastic. I think from going from AGI to true AI means that we are not trying to embed these AIs from the beginning, but we are going to build it. And that's the game of Qubic and true AI. Thank you very much. Have time for any question? Yeah, have some time for question? Quick question?
So I heard many explanations about why narrow AIs are not good with arithmetic, but I want you to explain why is that so? Why we don't have a narrow AI right now that it's good with derivatives, with basic arithmetic functions?
That's a great question. At the moment, the LLMs that you use today to do that kind of math are basically next token or next word predictions. So basically, they are not focused on trying to understand what is happening before, but they are trying to find the next good answer, and the next good answer in the lexical way. Well, now we can have it in visual way, like we have seen in these videos, but also it's trying to think just like the next word, and the next word is not enough to have this analytical thinking. The thing is that using just text to train AIs, that is what we are doing at the moment, is not enough. As I said previously, we have a lot of senses, and we are not using all that capability. We have 2 meters of skin in our bodies, and with a lot of temperature sensors, pressure sensors, and many other things. We have eyes, we have any other things, and all of that information is not fed into these LLMs. Even if we think that these architectures that we have from the attention mechanism, from LLMs and others, is capable, it's not enough, because this is not the way. I don't think it's the way. Even if we have, maybe we have 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 X GPUs, maybe could be a way to try to hack it, to try to brute force get into that kind of intelligence. But so far, we don't have enough for that. Thank you for your question. Anybody else?
It's amazing to see that perspective about the future of AGI technology, because in my perspective, I see the robots making awards that are not for humans, like drivers of buses, yes. These kind of words that maybe the robots can change, but I want to know the human role in the future with that kind of technologies.
Yeah, that's a great question. At the end, we humans, at the moment, the thing is that the humanity that we are embedding in these LLMs is not humanity. It's just a small portion of what humanity means. We're at 8 billion people, and these 8 billion behavior, these 8 million minds are not embedded in the LLMs that we are training today, and that's the reality. So the thing is that I think AGI, or true AI, as we call it in Qubic, is going to augment humanity. We have many problems at the moment that humanity can't solve because we don't have enough brain capacity or technological capacity, and maybe through AI, we will be able to solve it. So I think it's for humanity, if done right, it can be really a great enhancer, at least in the short term. I don't know in the long term what's going to happen, but in the short term, I think it can help a lot. It's like having a new tool that is able to help humanity to reach different levels. That's my take. The stage is yours. Okay, thank you.